Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be reviewing a Rolling Stones album. I'm going to be looking at their album Let It Bleed here. Now this review was requested, like a Stones review was requested by like a user called Jordan's Music Reviews. He's got a little YouTube channel here going, so I will leave a link to his channel in the description to this video. But anyway, what I'm going to do today is I will give a bit of background information about the album, then I will show you my vinyl copy of it here, and then look at each of the album's tracks in detail. So this was the Stones' 8th studio album, released on the 5th of December in 1969. It was recorded throughout most stuff like that year, and I recorded it was maybe like a difficult experience for the band because founding member Brian Jones sadly passed away in the July of that year. He was found dead in his private swimming pool, and I think it's quite interesting to note that they already had a replacement guitarist, a guy called Mick Taylor, already lined up to join the band. And it's also interesting as well that only 2 days after Brian Jones had died, that they performed at Hyde Park. It was a scheduled concert and that, but it became a tribute concert to him. But I think it is interesting that they were out there performing only 2 days after the death of a very close friend of theirs. So it was recorded mostly at London's Olympic Studios, with overdubs being complete in LA, and it was originally due for release in July of 1969. However, Brian Jones' death delayed it until the winter. So just talk a bit about the vinyl album now. Firstly, the cover. It is a very iconic album cover, this here. The album's working title was called Automatic Changer, which is kind of depicted on the cover, a record stacking system where one would drop, but instead of records we've got various objects there, a tape reel, a clock, what looks like a tire, and then this cake here, which was baked by a then unknown Delia Smith, and there's the back of it as well, it all destroyed on the back there. All the packaging is pretty basic. We just get a plain in a sleeve. Well, this one has credits and stuff on it there. Says this record should be played loud on it, and then the label on this one. This is a 2003 reissue. It's on this sort of custom label there with the wee figurines on it, which is quite a nice label there. Commercially, this album done very, very well. Reached #1 in the UK, #3 in the US charts, and it got critical acclaim from the moment it was released, and it still regularly appears on all-time great albums lists. So yeah, I'm now going to go over each of the album's songs. I will basically score each song out of 10, and then those scores will be used to give us a overall percentage mark for the album. So it opens up with the classic Gimme Shelter, which I'm giving a 10 out of 10 to. This is a brilliant start to the album. Starts off with this really nice quite softly played finger-picking guitar from Keith Richards. Really sounds fantastic. Then it slowly builds up. We get the drums come in, then the bass kicks in, and that it is a really powerful musical performance what the Stones put in here. Lyrics on this one they're kind of the world coming to an end, really inspired by the events of the Vietnam War, and that also features some very, very powerful backing vocals from a lady called Mary Clayton, and those are overdubbed in LA, and she's a fantastic singer. She comes from a gospel background, and yeah, it really adds another dimension to the song, and just makes it a perfect song for me. A 10 out of 10 for Gimme Shelter.
But all you love's in vain.
Second track in is called Love in Vain, which is a cover of an old Robert Johnson song, very much a blues standard. This performed in quite a soft sort of country acoustic style, and that, and Mick Jagger's vocals, they do really capture the lyrics of the song quite nicely, and that they are quite emotional lyrics on this one, and his vocals is certainly do convey that. However, I do think it is quite a come down compared with the immense power of Gimme Shelter. This one is very, very soft, very quiet song, and maybe would have been a little bit more effective coming a little bit later in the album, but it is still a pretty good song though, so I'm giving Love in Vain a 7 out of 10. other track in is called Country Honk, which I'm giving a 7 out of 10 to. Also, now this is kind of like a reworked version of like the #1 hit Honky Tonk Woman, which it has to be said isn't one of my favourite Stones songs. Like it's not one of like my personal favourites, that one. And like this is like kind of like a very loose version, sort of featuring like sort of country style fiddle and like slide guitar and like whatnot. Originally this was like the style like the song was written in, so this is like almost like a kind of like demo E sort of version, like alternate version of the song. Like I think like it works well, like it's like like it's not a bad version like actually. But like I think it would have been like a little bit stronger had they used the actual single version for the album. But like like as I said, like I mean, Honky Tonk Woman, it isn't one of my favourite Stone singles what they put out. But yeah, it's still a good song though, so a 7 out of 10. Next track is called Live With Me, which I'm giving a 8 out of 10 to. This is kind of like a more perky, like hard rocking number. Starts off with this really, really nice bass line from like Bill Wyman, really sort of like gets that song going nicely. This is also the first song with like contributions from Mick Taylor as well. Like he and like Richards like trade licks on this song, and like it works really, really well. Just a nice sort of like fun, like sort of toe tapping song musically. Like anyway, lyrics a little bit dark, a little bit like more like about sort of drug addictions and like sort of like living like with like them and like that. It's basically just about drug and sex, really, like what like the Stones like wrote about like a lot of the time. But yeah, it is a very good song though, Live With Me, giving it an 8 out of 10. Now, closing side 1, we have the title song, Let It Bleed, which I'm giving a 9 out of 10 to. A really, really good song. A little bit, I'll say sloppy, like, in terms of sound like I'm playing, but that generally, like, was the Stone style. And, like, they really, like, perfected that style very, very, very well. Nice lyrics on this one here, like I mean, like they could be taken like a number of ways. Like on like one hand, sort of like about like having someone there for like emotional support and that, but then like otherwise like it could be like about just having like a sexual partner and that. But yeah, maybe a little bit stretched out though, like as a song. Like it's about 6 minutes this one, and maybe goes on a little bit too long. Like and like the main sort of like chorus part, like we all need someone, someone to lean on, like that sort of like that sort of like repeated like throughout like the song, albeit like with slightly different like variations to it. That does get a tad repetitive though, but it isn't a bad song though. I mean, like it's a very good song, like actually, has to be said. So yeah, Let It Bleed, a 9 out of 10. Yeah, really, really strong track. So now only got to side 2, we get the track Midnight Rambler, which I'm personally giving a 7 out of 10 to. This is quite an interesting track. It's sort of like the lyrics on this one like are like about a guy called Albert DeSalvo who like confessed to being like the Boston Strangler. Like he like killed like many people like in like the early 60s. Like he was like a serial killer basically. And like yeah, like the subject matter, like I mean like it's a very bold like subject matter like to write about. But like the actual music, like it is quite perky and like quite upbeat, a little bit like inappropriate considering like the nature like of like the lyrics and that. Features like some nice like harmonica playing like by Jagger, and like some like really good like guitar playing like as always with Keith Richards and that. For me though, it does get a little bit annoying like after like a while. Like it kind of like it's sort of like it goes through different stages. Like the middle stage where it kind of like they're repeating like the same bit, but like it's getting faster and faster. That kind of gets a little bit annoying after a while for me personally. And then like the last verse, like it like it's quite slow and like quite tense. Like I think like it's supposed to be sort of like sort of like the lyrics are like depicting like this guy like killing someone and that. I mean like yeah, like it's not a nice like song really like lyrically. Like it's interesting though, and like very, very bold subject matter like to write about. So yeah, Midnight Rambler for me would get a 7 out of 10.
You got the silver, you got the gold.
But now, for me, this is where the album gets really, really, really strong. We get a song called You've Got The Silver. This is a Keith Richards sort of song and like perform track. Like he sings this song solo, like on this album, like his first like solo vocal performance, like on like a Stones album. Like it starts off like it is like quite like a basic like acoustic song. but like it features some really nice, tasteful slide guitar in it, and like yeah, like nice like lyrics to this one like as well. Like he said that like it was like written like about like his then girlfriend like at the time. For me, it is one of the more enjoyable, one of the stronger tracks on the album. You've Got The Silver gets a 9 out of 10 for me.
Well, I am just a monkey man. I'm glad you are a monkey.
And now we have a really underrated track, like a song called Monkey Man, which I love this song, giving it a full 10 out of 10. Really strong track. It starts off with this really like unique sound like out at the start, like, and like throughout the song as well. Like it is exceptionally produced. Like the guitar, like the piano, and like Charlie Watts drumming, they all work really well together and like play off each other beautifully. From what I've read, the lyrics on this one are like a tribute to like an Italian painter and film director called Mario Schifano, though like, I'm not too sure like how like true that is though. But yeah, like not one of like the more talked about songs on the album, but for me it is one of the strongest. Monkey Man gets a full 10 out of 10 for me.
I saw her today at the reception.
And then we have probably the album's most well-known, most popular track, even though it wasn't released like as a single. It is You Can't Always Get What You Want. A true rock classic this. I'll just start like from the beginning, like of the song features like the London Bark Choir like opening the song. Like interesting thing with them was that they like didn't want to be credited like on the original album, considering that the drugs like Sex and like drugs like Reputation and that like they didn't want like the names like on the album. So I'm not sure like whether they got like performance royalties like for the song like at all. Like I'm sure like retrospectively they might have got, but certainly like when the album came out, like they weren't credited like on this track. And then like after like their wee section, like their wee minute, the song just starts. Basically we get just like Mick Jagger like strumming like a like acoustic guitar and like singing. Works really well, and then slowly like the other band members join in. Well, I say that the other band members, but actually Charlie Watts doesn't play on this song. Like a guy called Jimmy Miller like plays at the drums like in place of Charlie Watts, and apparently because Watts like couldn't get like the drumming pattern, like it was like too difficult for him to play. And like more generally, what like a lot of like people say is that the Stones, like they always seem to be sort of like copying like the Beatles, or like sort of like one step behind the Beatles. And like Mick Jagger like has like said that like this song like is them trying to write like a Hey Jude type of song, like sort of like a sing-along sort of crowd pleaser song. And yeah, like as I said, like although it wasn't a single like at like the time that the album like was released, like it has become one of the Stones like most well-known songs. It is a classic track. Like even like Donald Trump like can't ruin this song. Like he used this one like out like his like campaigns and that. But like yeah, like aside from that, this is a brilliant track though. Like you can't always get what you want. So that is us come to the end of this album review, and overall this scores 86%, which is a terrific score. Yeah, very good score there. A great album here, like it has to be said, although maybe not as great as like some people make it out to be. Personally for me, like I mean like this is like talked about in like the same kind of like vein like as Sgt. Pepper, Dark Side of the Moon, like Revolve, like them sort of like real classic albums. But for me, like it isn't like quite as good. Like there are a couple of maybe slight filler tracks like on here, such as Love in Vain and like Country Honk. Although for me personally, like it is maybe just because they don't really fit my taste. Like I'm not like a massive fan of like country music or like traditional blues and that. So that's maybe why. But like at the same time, there are some brilliant tracks, such as You Can't Always Get What You Want, and Monkey Man is great. Gimme Shelter, of course, brilliant track. And like the other thing worth knowing is this isn't a really positive album either. Like I mean, like it kind of like it both conveys kind of like the sadness like off like the end of an era. Like this came right at the end, like off like the 60s. So it does have that slightly sort of like dissatisfied, like kind of like thing like about it. Like it isn't really like all that upbeat. And like there's also like a lot of anger like as well, like as to like what was going on like in the world like at this time as well, like is conveyed throughout this record, like in songs such as Gimme Shelter and like Midnight Rambler. Sort of comments on like cultural news events like off at the time as well. But yeah, like as I said, there are some brilliant classic tracks on this album. What for me makes this one of the Stones like most consistent and like most musically satisfying albums although like I haven't heard like the vast majority like off like the catalogue. The other albums off there's like what I know what I can compare this to is Beggar's Banquet, which I probably preferred this one like over that album. Certainly preferred this over Aftermath and like the earlier stuff such as Out of Our Heads, and probably Some Girls as well, like is the other Stones album what I have. So for me, this is my favourite Stones album like so far, although I haven't heard like the vast majority like off like the catalogue. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this review. Like as always, I would like to know what you think of this album down below, like in like the comment section to this video, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.